How's it going, YouTube? So today we are currently 4 weeks out from a powerlifting meet after not competing for about 2 years. Now you might be sitting here being like, where'd you go, bro? What has happened to you, man? Where'd the voiceover content go? Well, in a summary, I got complacent with my training. I needed a break from just trying to make videos and to find my passion again in lifting. So in this clip, we're warming up my legs, my lower body, which you might be like, what the heck? Are you going to do squats, some deadlifts? No. I'm using this warm up to have a better arch for my bench press. If you have really good leg drive, your legs will be engaged. And if you're not warmed up, you could strain your lower back and have some pretty bad back injuries from benching. Yes, it's really that sensitive. So in this bench clip, we are warming up to a single at RP 7. But to get back to what weight category and what competition I'm doing a local meet, not doing a national, not doing a provincial meet. And I'm trying to cut down to 93 kg. I start at 215, so about 98 kg, and I'm currently at 207 pounds. I was holding a lot of fluff weight, and I wasn't super lean at 215, so the cut wasn't that bad. But I'm definitely starting to feel it now, and I need to slow down my accessory work, so this is probably one of my last high volume days with SPD. Also, I decided to take my single twice because I forgot to do commands, so I got my girlfriend to do commands with me, hashtag Jess Squats. But yeah, overall, the cut hasn't been that bad. I haven't lost a whole lot of strength, and I'm still not sure whether I made progress from all the bulking or am I still going to be at the same spot from 2 years ago. And honestly, I have no idea what to expect because this meet prep was even last minute with the cut. So we're throwing a lot at the wall and hopefully a lot of stuff sticks in my training and I'm able to perform. And honestly, the reason why I decided to compete is because it's been 2 years. My training has felt like nothing was in between. There's no goals, and it kind of got a little bit boring. And I felt like it's starting to affect my passion for even making videos. So yeah, I decided, you know what? It's time to take some risk. If I have a bad meet, if I have a good meet, it doesn't really matter. Comparison's the thief of joy, whether you do good or bad. Sometimes you just gotta embrace the experience, learn from the things that went right and learn from the things that went wrong. From 2 years ago, I've done way too much volume too early on because I want to maintain the look for the aesthetic, for social media, mostly for the analytic gain. At this point, I decided I'm just gonna let the physique go for a bit. I'm just gonna get skinny fat, which is totally normal in a meet prep. And once I'm done this meet, guess what? I said I'd never compete in bodybuilding, but I'm seriously considering it maybe in October as a competition date. Still a distant thought. I don't even know what category I'd be good in because I have chicken legs. Most likely will be classic and physique, but I want to expose myself into these competitions to have something to work forward towards so that I can keep advancing my passion in fitness, which a lot of people get complacent and a lot of people don't want to lose weight. A lot of people don't want to get stronger because they feel like it's just too much work. Like, how could I be the best powerlifting coach? How could I be the best hypertrophy coach if I'm not testing myself constantly? If you test yourself, you will grow. Right now on social media, everyone's a coach, and a lot of these people do not compete in anything. Whether it's insecurity because you don't think you'll win, it doesn't matter. You should compete if you are a coach, in my opinion. Because if you are a coach and your client wants to compete and you're supposed to peak them for something like powerlifting, how can you walk the talk when you haven't even done the walk yourself? Even if you do horrible, you place last place, at least you will learn. And that I personally believe you cannot be the best version of yourself if you're not constantly testing yourself. That's why I want to compete in powerlifting. That's why I want to compete in bodybuilding. That's why for the last 2 years, everything felt like complacent because there's no real way to know if I'm making progress or not. Sure, you could say the PRs in the gym, the cut when you get good lighting into the gym locker room, but you're showing up on your best day. How do you show up on your worst day? How do you know you're getting the most out of your training? So that's the epiphany I had recently because I've been going through somewhat of a discovery phase with self-improvement and training and everything overall. Anyways, getting back to the training, you saw me do my dumbbell incline press to now lateral raise. At this point in my training, I'm not training super hard on these movements only because recovery is relatively volatile as I have to continue losing weight about 1 pound to 1.5 pounds per week. And the deeper I get into this prep, the less I have to do overall, with minimum keeping the volume and intensity I need for my squat, bench, and deadlift. Now a little bit of the programming behind this push day because we're doing incline press, there's a decent amount of front delt. Just need to hit some of the lateral delt, not too intensely, because I kind of treat the incline dumbbell press like a hybrid of shoulders and upper chest. And following that, the incline press also has a decent amount of the medial head alongside with the bench press I did earlier. So we're focusing a lot more on overhead, long head extension. And so being selective with the long head movement of the tricep, we're going to be doing something that's easy to stabilize, like a tricep overhead extension unilateral. I like to do this movement by using my lat to anchor the elbow in place and to really just focus on extending out, kind of like how you extend out on leg extension. And the only real thing anchoring me in place is my lat on the extending arm. I like to do at least one long head or overhead extension movement because presses do use a lot of the medial head. And following after this movement, I go back to pec deck flies with extra emphasis on looking up, keeping the chest up. If you do this right, you can feel some of those upper chest fibers being worked. But particularly on this, you want to keep the scaps back and have limited scap movement. You still need to have a little bit of movement so that you could fully finish the movement. But really pay massive emphasis to not having the shoulders engage entirely on this movement by making sure your scapula is pulled back and you're keeping your chest up and you're looking at the ceiling to kind of sidetrack that feeling. Here's a side profile of that. I'm looking up. I grabbed above the handles I was using previously because it didn't feel as much upper chest. I feel like I could flare my upper chest a lot more with the higher handles. And overall, I like this movement a lot. Unlike presses, I feel like the fatigue from this is not massive and it's not going to be damaging for my bench press for the following sessions. So I'll probably keep running this closer to meet prep, maybe till 2 weeks out, and then I'm going to stop entirely. The final movement is optional based on how fatigued I am, but this session I felt pretty good. It is the unilateral scap extension for the triceps. Essentially hits all tricep heads with emphasis to maybe the lateral head because we didn't really focus on that as much. I like to keep a little bit of a gap between my elbow and my torso and extend out. Because of all the volume and stuff we done earlier, it's not going to be a movement that I'm going to be loading like crazy. So the carryover, the fatigue isn't going to be massive session to session. The accessories overall are very useful, even if you're just a pure powerlifter, because if you stop all of them too early on, your leverages might change right before the meet and you'll feel kind of weak on meet day or the recovery period when you take your week off. So still do your volume, still do your low intensity training just to make sure you have enough volume and training intensity that you do not melt on meet day for leverages. Now here's the physique at 207 pounds, definitely on the flatter side, eating relatively low carbs. If you want coaching, I'm opening up some spots in May. Please apply in description. And that's that video. Hope you enjoyed. Like, subscribe, comment below. Peace.